Thank you guys for having me. You got to bear with me. My talk took a slight detour this morning. I showed it to my co-founder. He said, "This is going to be awesome, but are you going to wear that shirt?" And I said, "No, I always buy brand new plaid shirts to get ready for talks, but why do you ask?" And he said, "You look like Old MacDonald." So just really quickly, or it's going to bug me, if you think this is a nice shirt, if I look like Old MacDonald, how many of you think this is a nice shirt? How many of you think I look like Old MacDonald? Damn it. All right. So let's get the clapping out of the way because this is going to be an awesome day, an awesome event. You guys pumped to be here or what? You see the lineup? Is that not an awesome lineup of speakers? Yes. Clap. Yes. Because one day you're all going to die. Very TED-like intro, I know, but it's the truth. And this is what you're going to say on your deathbed. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This was from a survey that hospice took. They interviewed thousands of patients on their deathbed, and this was the most common regret. I just think, how is that possible? That's the biggest tragedy I've ever heard in my life. How is it possible that this is your regret on your deathbed? It means that it's not a surprise to you. You lived your entire life with this regret, and you lived a life this way, knowing you were headed towards this. You might be asking yourself, the title of this talk is Huntsville, Alabama, the city that saved the world. What does that have to do with it? Well, when you live a life according to somebody else, you take the most circuitous path through life. You start accumulating time debt and opportunity debt that you can never get back. You start accumulating financial debt that's really hard to overcome. And today, I think if we do 4 things, this is actually going to be a reality. The first thing is to be yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but there's only one thing that you're going to be great at in life, and that's being you. The world needs you to be you. The greatest inhibitor of opportunity and possibility is that fear that leads to that regret. Number 1, the world needs you to be you. You guys understand that? You should clap. That's inspiring. That's one. And I could have not stood up here 4 months ago and given this talk, but on May 20th, my life changed significantly for the better. It was really awesome what happened. My name's Paul DiJo. I'm the CEO of a startup company called eQuire, and just one day on May 20th, if you ever run a startup company, you have a company, you know it's like this. It's up and down. It's this way, and it's crazy. And on May 20th, I was sitting in the lobby of our bank, and I was looking at my bank accounts, and the first one said, my personal account said negative $63. And then the account that I pay myself from, our business account, said $7. So you can understand my predicament. And I'm sitting there hitting refresh because it's the day we got investment from our investors. And then all of a sudden, all this money came into our accounts. And it was more money than I had ever seen. And I started calling my friends. I had lunch with a couple of friends. It was really exciting. And then what happens at night is you realize that, so that's the most money I've ever seen. And then I'm a huge embarrassing failure if I don't turn the most money I've ever seen into 20 times that amount. And you start thinking to yourself, you're like, oh shit. So at night, I just went into Quora and I saw this question in my feed for whatever reason. I don't know how. It just popped up and it said, what does it feel like to be the CEO of a startup? And so I just started answering it. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes. I don't really remember. And I went to bed. This thing went crazy viral. It was in Pando Daily and Business Insider. It was in Forbes. It was featured thousands of blogs. It was just crazy what happened. And just to give you an idea of how crazy it was, Ivanka Trump actually tweeted it. That's my claim to fame. And 5 minutes after it was in Forbes, I got a text message from a girl I went to high school with, and she said, "Man, I knew I should have made out with you in high school." And I took the high road, and I said, "Yeah, you should have." And anyway, so this post went like crazy, and I didn't really know why, but one thing I did with the post is I put my email address in, and I said, "I'm an entrepreneur. I really get the most value, and I like helping other entrepreneurs, so if I can help you in any way, just send me an email." And I didn't think much of it until thousands and thousands and thousands of emails came in, and 3,000 emails later and hundreds of Skype calls later, I had all these talks with the most brilliant, amazing people in the world creating the most amazing things. And this was so inspiring. And so like I said, I could have not done this talk 4 months ago, but this gave me an idea of actually what was really possible. But these guys all had the same concern. It wasn't about finance. It wasn't about customers. They reached out to me and said the craziest things like, I feel like you saved my life. I feel like I wasn't going to quit if I didn't read this. And at the first time I read a couple of these responses, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is just not true. But they all said the same thing. I was getting these emails. all these entrepreneurs, the thing that they're most afraid of, the thing that they're having the biggest problem with is they all felt alone. They felt like nobody understood them. They felt like they couldn't feel comfortable in their social circles or talk to anybody. And so that's why they were reaching out to me. And I started thinking, how is it possible that so many people have this regret on their deathbed and they go through life that way? And these guys, they don't, except that they don't want to do it anymore. They're frustrated because they can't talk to anybody. And so I figured if I could just figure this out, or why that's the case, if we can reconcile this, there'd be a huge, huge opportunity. And I think this is why, if you guys know what a distribution curve looks like, it basically says that 70% of all data points on a normal distribution fall within a mean. That means that a lot of things are the same, they're right around the mean. And I think the most frustrating part is we behave this way in social circles. We're nervous about going outside of that. And the problem with that is that's not who we really are. We are actually in the tails here. Okay, this is where our minds and our dreams and our hopes and our souls are. This is where creativity is, and this is who we really are, except we behave a certain way on the surface. And it contributes to why these people feel alone and why we feel that way on our deathbed. And the problem with this is the world hurts from this. The more that you congregate around the mean and try to be like somebody else, the more you push the tails out and the more the middle grows. This is one of my favorite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt. She says, "The great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people." And I love this quote for two reasons. I believe the first reason is I believe this to be factual. Have you ever talked with somebody you like being around, you discuss ideas? After you talk about people with other people, you feel kind of scummy about yourself, and there's a reason that is. And that's why this is such a cool event. This is what you talk about. You talk about great ideas. And I feel like if you plotted this on that curve, it would look like this. People are in the middle, ideas are in the tails. But what's scary about this, and why I'm excited to talk about this today, is that that middle part is growing the most exponentially. It's outgrowing the things on the tail. And until you stop that, it will continue at that pace. And so people in the middle will start growing, they keep growing, and they'll keep growing, and then the tails will keep getting pushed further and further out. Today, I'd like to say, not in Huntsville. That doesn't happen in Huntsville. We don't talk about other people in Huntsville. We talk about ideas. This is number 2. You guys cool with that? Can you just talk about ideas from here on out? Okay, so you've agreed to 2 things so far because you clapped, all right? So that's 2 out of 4. If you just do those 2 things alone, I mean, this Wikipedia page is kind of sad, right? If you just do those 2 things alone, it'll start to look like this, okay? I saw this happen. I literally saw this happen, and I'm just one person. I was talking to entrepreneurs, and I was just helping them. You guys are 550 people in a concentrated area. If you just do those 2 things, you will start a social evolution that you won't be able to slow down. There's people in this room that aren't here, that aren't going to be privy to this talk. If you just do those 2 things, this will happen. The curve flips upside down, and suddenly talking about people is in the minority, and the tails start to grow. And you have no idea what's possible when that actually starts happening. It's an amazing thing. And when you leave the room today, there's people that aren't here. There's people that depend on what you say. They care about what you say. They want to be inspired about what you say. And you have the greatest opportunity that you probably didn't realize before this. And that is that they're waiting on what you have to say. They're waiting on your opinion. And when I talk about saving a life, it's not too dramatic. You can inspire people. They want to hear what you have to say. They're going to have a million questions, but if you just inspire them, like I was helping these entrepreneurs, this is all I was doing. I didn't have the answers. I was just saying, hey, I think you can do it. Then you have people that don't sit on their deathbed and have that regret. You just tell them, I think you can do it. What are you excited about? I think you can do it. That's all you need to do. That's the 3rd thing. So can you guys do that? Can you guys commit to inspiring people? So that's all you have to do. So 3 things so far. Be yourself. We're not going to talk about other people, and we're going to inspire other people. This is kind of how it looks. So I actually believe you're all entrepreneurs. I believe everybody is an entrepreneur. If we weren't curious, if we didn't want to challenge things, if we didn't really have that feeling in our gut to do something different, we wouldn't be entrepreneurs. And the great thing about entrepreneurs is they're producers. Someone on the plane yesterday was baffled that I didn't know we were $16 trillion in debt, or I didn't watch the Democratic or Republican convention. And she said, well, what were you doing? And I said, oh, I was hiring 7 people. I think if we're $16 trillion in debt, the only thing we can do to get out of that is just create jobs out of thin air. There's only one person. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. I don't care what side you're on. It doesn't matter. The most impact you're going to have is to produce, and you're an entrepreneur and you can actually do that. And the thing about entrepreneurs that's great is they're the only people that can create jobs out of thin air. You're producers, you're entrepreneurs, you can do this, you have this ability. Listen to your gut. People ask me all the time, what's the difference between an entrepreneur, what's the difference between anybody else? And I say, well, if I believe everybody's an entrepreneur, then I think entrepreneurs are people that just listen to their gut. You have something inside of you that's telling you to do something, and you either do it or you don't, and you don't do it because you're afraid of what the repercussions are. Think of an idea that you've always had. Think of something that you've always wanted to do. If you're passionate about it, you'll get there. Eventually, you will get there. If you're not passionate about it, you'll take, like we talked about, a circuitous route to do something else. If your idea is about making money, it's wrong. If your idea is about something that doesn't affect 1 million people, it's wrong. You have to make mistakes to get to where you need to be. Okay, this is how you learn about things. This is how you learn about yourself. The best thing you can do is learn about what happens when you run into a mistake. What do you do? And you have to make 1 million of them to be successful. Sometimes things are going to feel impossible, and that's okay. You're still going to do it anyway. You have to make these mistakes. Don't get frustrated when you make mistakes. The biggest opportunities for me happened when I made a mistake and realized something else from that. I'm going to give you some tactical advice that will actually help you with this, and it's very eloquent, so bear with me. Some of the best advice I ever got started with this. When things get tough, keep working, shithead. Sorry. Don't take yourself too seriously, okay? Things are hard. They're going to be really, really hard. They get exponentially harder. Sometimes things feel impossible. If you keep letting stuff build up and take yourself too seriously, it's gonna really affect you. So when things are tough, just remember this picture. Just keep working. You'll get there. So what we're going to do right now is I want everybody to stand up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, cool. Now everybody, hug yourself. And I want you to repeat after me. Hi. Hi. How are you? How are you? I've missed you. I've missed you. You're a beautiful, unique snowflake. Okay, this is actually how you have to think about yourself. It's the truth. And now what I want you to do is reach out to the person next to you. Don't actually physically touch them, but exchange emails with someone that you don't know. Do your best to do that right now. You have a little bit of time. I'm going to wait for you, so go ahead. Exchange emails. We're waiting on you. You got time. Guys, good? You good? Cool. Okay, everybody can sit back down. I hope that wasn't too painful. Everybody can sit down. This is another piece of advice that I got from Cameron Herold. He did an awesome TED Talk too. You should check it out. But he said to me, write 5 things down the night before you go to sleep, what you want to do. And do those things before you check your email, before you do anything else. Maybe if you work out, that's cool, or you do something else, you have a tradition, that's fine. But before you do anything else, take care of these 5 things. I started doing this, and it was like a world of productivity opened up for me. And suddenly things stopped building momentum in my head that were tough, and I started just getting them done. This is just tactical advice that you should try. You should try it tonight. And you have to, because the 5th thing on this list tonight is going to be the email of the person that you just met, okay? If you don't do that, Huntsville, Alabama will not be the city that saved the world. Do you want that on your shoulders? Okay? Don't screw this up for everybody else. Email that person tomorrow before it'll be the 5th thing you've done, and say, hey, I did these 4 things. How are you doing? Or what are you working on? Or what was your idea? Okay? Don't let anybody down. Got it? Okay, cool. And this is another really interesting piece of advice I got that was like, wow, I started doing it. It was amazing. If you do the hardest thing first that's in that list, you'll find yourself in a much better position and have much more productivity. And the reason that is that you're putting stuff off, and every decision you have about what you want to do, this thing is in the back of your head talking to you like, hey, I'm still here, I'm not going anywhere, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it starts affecting every one of your decisions and all the things that you have on your task list. Do the hardest thing first. I know it's easier said than done, but just try it. And when things are really, really hard, just say you're going to do it for 10 minutes. Okay, you'll be amazed at what happens, but just say you're going to do that. When I say we need you, I don't just mean me in this room in this city. I'm talking about our kids and our grandkids and their grandkids. You need to create, you need to be yourself. You need to talk about ideas. You need to inspire people. Easily enough, the last thing you need to do, the fourth thing, is just try. That's all you have to do. You'll build up this fear. You'll build up this fear. It builds momentum. It's like this evil villain. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger the more you put it off or the more you contribute to that. It's not a big deal. Just try. So in Huntsville, if we be ourselves, we don't talk about other people, we inspire and just try, you'll be amazed at what actually happens. So the title of my talk is Huntsville, Alabama, the city that saved the world. And I came up with that talk 10 minutes after I was asked to do this, and I said, I want that to be what the title is, and I'll figure out how the hell I'm going to do that. But in the core post, I talk about, I think the luckiest people in the world, they get one shot at being great in life, and they take advantage of it, or they don't, or maybe they miss it. And I feel like today might actually have been my best shot at doing something great, and so I wasn't going to shoot for something down here. I wanted this to actually be something I shoot for. I actually wanted to save the world. And do you think it scared me? Do you think it sounded ridiculous and I was nervous every night? Yeah, it's crazy. That sounds ridiculous. I sound crazy. But I wasn't going to let that stop me. Don't let anything stop you. Nothing is that bad, and you shouldn't be scared of anything. If you do those four things, be yourself. We don't talk about people, we talk about ideas. Inspire and just try. You will save at least 2 lives and possibly the world at the same time. Thanks for having me.